Welcome back. We are heading towards a game three. A quick update for you. The next game is Order versus Gravitas. Gravitas have actually lost two of their bands heading into this game, which means that in some way, something they're doing with this game delay. So, boys, I think we could just ruminate on what they could possibly be doing right now.
To speculate wildly on what they've done.
I mean, the company answer is they're playing Valorant, or Legends of Runeterra, or Teamfight Tactics, or any of the other fine products you can find here, right? But what else could it be, chat? You've got some ideas.
Maybe they're ordering takeaway food. They've left the building, waiting outside, trying to flag the person down to get their food and saying, I'm not ready for the match just yet. Who knows? You know, food is very important.
Yeah, I almost caught someone the other day taken by food order. Yeah,
Have you really?
With
Really?
With
No
the
shame.
COVID stuff being now that you leave the food at the front door, right? There's no person-to-person contact.
What is that about?
The food was downstairs, and I went down to grab it. There was someone, was right there.
And so,
What a dog act.
Did you catch them like enough where it was very obvious that they were trying to take it and it wasn't theirs? Like, did you have to take the bag from them?
They made eye contact with me, and they were like just close enough to the package that they were like, "Oh, this is a mistake. He seems like he's involved with this."
So
And
dodge.
they just went like straight down the street.
I'm a little confused by the whole leave at door home delivery thing, because it's like now required. I don't think on any of the home delivery food services that we enjoy, you can get delivered to the. But I'm constantly getting phone calls where the person's like, "I'm downstairs, can you come
100%.
down?" And I'm like, and I walk down my stairs, and it's like they're just standing there in my driveway, and I'm like, you know, you legally have to leave this here, I think. Why am I outside?
Have you
Why are we talking?
Have you turned this into a little bit of a mini game? Like, I've tried to really min-max how clear my instructions are for those delivery notes, and it still doesn't seem to matter. Like I've said, for instance, hey, it's at the first house opposite the park. There is this particular car parked outside the gate. Please leave it by this gate. It doesn't matter, no, Nick. They will still call me and say, hello, I'm here, and they'll be waiting somewhere completely different. It's like apartment complex. So there's a part of me that goes, there must be, low elo delivery drivers. I don't know. I don't know where I could go with this analogy. I'm trying to weave in some right game terminology, but it sounded as bad as when it came out.
Yeah, because you really hurt your LOL cred before by calling everyone champs and agents interchangeably.
Yeah, maybe we just go next.
My biggest thing with any kind of food delivery service or car share, ride hailing, whatever, is I'm constantly getting phone calls from them and they say things like, "I don't know where I am." I'm like, dude, I could see you on a map. The only reason I could see you on a map is because you have the same map. You can see me on the map, so just follow the map. Like, I hop in a car and they're like, "So should I take a left up here?" I'm like, I don't know. Look at the map. The main feature of your service is that it tells you where to go, approximately how long it's going to take, and how much it costs me. Good lord.
This is so a random tangent to that as well. If you're going to Sydney Airport, and you put in the GPS Sydney Airport, the location, like the pin that drops for your destination, is in the middle of the tarmac. like the spot that it tells you to go is mid runway. And so every driver that I have going there gets lost because they're like, I don't know the actual turnoffs here. It's like it's not saying the right spot.
That's very funny. And then you just get one rogue driver who's like, "We're doing it. We're
Yeah.
doing it." Yeah. Nick told me to follow the map, so that's what I'm doing. We've got Raz Emoz HD. Oh no, sorry. Land Shaman says they got locked out of their house. This is what could have happened with Gravitans. Stovey says they're doing a cooking stream. Clearly, there's lots of they've got locked out of the house. There's some playing games. There's some other
Maybe
things,
their internet has
who knows?
disconnected and they're trying to patch one of their Tournament Realm clients and they're having to hotspot from their mobile phone. I had that actually happen to me in another game a while ago where our internet was that unreliable. I think we had like ADSL. And okay, so bear in mind, this is a house. I lived with 10 different people. I would never do it again. That was a crazy time back when I was a university student. I was living with 10 people. We had ADSL. We couldn't even load up Facebook. It was that laggy. It was tragic. So we were literally hotspot gamers, essentially was the term. We had insane phone bills. Anytime a patch came out, you were like essentially going back to the old days. You know when you had to like try and patch from a friend, like they would have to share you the game with
Yep, yep, yep.
a
Yeah,
hard drive
yeah,
or
yeah.
something. I felt like I'd gone and sort of regressed into a time of past. So who knows? There's so many options on the table. Maybe we just throw that one out into the ring.
I did that a couple of weeks ago with the OPL. To be able, like hot spotting.
I'm like reminiscing on like 6 years ago. And you're like, oh,
That's funny.
that's actually my life.
That's I mean, it's not an OPL broadcast unless someone is panicked because the Riot Tech guy is inside their computer right now remotely trying to get you to patch the software via your phone. Katsuri says, dude, Nick Boy got that cute bed. You better believe it. Feel free to come and stay in the room if you'd like. We take all people here.
He owns IKEA. It's actually a showroom. He doesn't actually live there.
Yeah. This is all the monitors I'm looking at right now are just cardboard. I'm still very traumatized by the stealing food story, but we do need to need to move on. Order versus Gravitas. We're still waiting on word about whether or not the game is ready to go, but what we do know is that both Order and Gravitas are ready to go. They had, Order didn't have a bad split. Last split, it's not obviously Rusty where they wanted to end up either, but they did that Order thing where they seemed to pick up in the second half.
Yeah, they did. Order is so unusual. Like they've changed roster,
man. They're
and
so
it feels like their results were almost predictable again.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I looked at the players. I thought the players were very good. The potential of this roster is massive. You know, three of them actually, were in the finals the year prior. Like they have all of the potential. I would have put them in the top 2 at the start of the year. And then we see what happens with Order here and there. It's very sporadic in their performance. Their inconsistencies are the most consistent part of the team through that first split. Now they've had more time together, so you would hope, right, that with that time, it's not just like on the Rift, it's the team bonding. Like they're very clearly a close team. All of them go to the gym together. Even now, they have their own home gym where all 5 of them are going. This is the type of team where you want to see teamwork be the real core tenet of the roster, but it's still that one thing that is far from perfected.
I didn't quite understand when I first joined the OPL what Spawn meant about the Order playoff buff, but then obviously when we saw it in Split 1 finals where they, in all honesty, nearly, or I want to even say maybe should have just beaten the Direwolves in what was a 3-2 series. It was definitely one that they were having the momentum for. They obviously then fell on down, and it was Direwolves that ended up in the grand finals of all things. But Order definitely showcased that they have a lot of gusto, a lot of power, and those personalities, as you say, look like a very much tight-knit unit, have a lot of fun, and keep Spawn young as well.
I would argue that it's actually a skill to be able to change 2/3 of your roster and still just know bang on how your gameplay is going to go. Maybe that's how you get Puma on board, you know? You just go, we could guarantee you this. You know what you can get with us.
Consistency in esports is one of the hardest things to have, Nick. You might be onto something there.
It absolutely is. I mean, that for years was an issue with me of trying to find a team that I liked. To be able to follow in any esport is that you go like they just blow up and reshape every season. But the idea of being able to keep your core identity as a team is I realize we're talking a lot about Order here, but I mean that is probably Order's biggest strength is that core culture and identity maintains between
we could
teams.
Expand this away from Order though very easily, right?
Please.
Like, with traditional sport, are you a fan of players or teams primarily?
Yeah, true. There's I guess that I'm going for. There's some players that I like, but your allegiance is to a team, and then when that player leaves a team, you hate them.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
when they come back and play against the team that they left, you boo them.
Yeah, that's like it's a big thing, right? Like I'm let's say NBA is an example because I think we'll all be at least moderately familiar with it, and maybe the viewers as well. But like I'm a Spurs fan. And I wasn't when I was younger. The reason I became a Spurs fan is because I heard their coach's philosophy and his approach to the game. And then I watched one of the games, and I was like, okay, 5 passes before every shot. Like, they're the most team that I've ever seen play the game. And then you start to get these attachments to players separate to that philosophy. And those players could go anywhere, and you still kind of like them a little bit just because of who they are. But then you have that core thing to go back to, that anchor point that you found and liked the most. And I think that's something that if we were to even compare that to the OPL, Order has like a team anchor point that a lot of people will like, even though the players have changed year to year.
Absolutely. And then looking at Gravitas, I mean, a team that has gone through many changes, many iterations, many like from the top down. Gravitas looking to enter this split with some more fire underneath them, Skimmy.
Yeah, I mean, Beats for me, what a versatile player. The fact that he can go from mid to top to now coming into support, he really is, the face, if you will, to sort of add to this Gravitas Praelist identity. I feel like, with the amount of hype that Kwaku definitely ascertained in the last section of Split 1, he comes into this one, obviously put out a stellar performance, moves from one team to another, comes in here, looking to really patch up and add a source of strength to that top side of the map for them. I feel like if he keeps up that level of play, then he's definitely going to be another sort of totem, strength, title, whatever you want to call it, like an area of the map that they can lock in place and say, we know what we expect, we can really work around this idea. I think for me, Kwaku is one that could really sort of make 2020 a standout year for himself.
Certainly possible, and I think with Kwaku as well, remember the team he's joined now were at the very start of the year. I think there was a lot of freedom for them to be studying and doing other things as well. They weren't like as far as I know, a pure full-time OPL team. But what I also know from a lot of the bottom performing teams in that first split, Nick, is they hit like week 4, they were like 0-4, and then they all started playing very seriously and trying to get those wins. So study may have hit the back burner.
And you mentioned that Praelist energy before, Skimmy. Praelist is actually out for this game. K-pop in. So what does that do for that energy? Because Praelist really was, he stepped
K-pop in the jungle?
Sorry?
K-pop in the jungle?
That's the word I'm getting.
That's interesting.
This is an emergency sub.
That was their support player once upon a time, right? So
this is going to be a wild game.
Skimmy, who's the support right now? Do you have that name on hand?
I have no idea. I have no idea what is happening right now. All I know is that Praelist was that steady hand that seemed to steer the ship. He seemed to make things happen. He seemed to get the results. Now you suddenly throw that out the door and go, okay, K-pop, you love to play Zyra support. What kind of craziness have you cooked up for the jungle here today?
So you've got Beats in support, you've got Puma bot, Seam in mid, and then Praelist out, K-pop in for jungle, and then Quacker's taking our top.
So we have Puma and Human. That's like, if there was a beacon of hope, a light at the end of the tunnel for this roster, it's those two right now. That's something Praelist out is a disaster. That's the only way you could explain it.
Because Praelist really stepped up last split into a leadership role, Rusty, and really took hold of that team, and you could see that this was an opportunity that there was a growing phase, a learning phase that he had to go to, but he became this little linchpin for that team.
And there is, if I look at this whole roster as well, I think the Praelist is not only the most important person for like his experience or his leadership within the team, but his leadership for someone like Human is actually really valuable. We had a conversation with the coach of Gravitas. Human's selfless. He likes to give resources to other people, and Praelist was experienced enough to maybe be that no person, like that keep something for yourself, and now that's gone. So, a bit risky.
Absolutely. Keep something for yourself, but don't when it comes to Nick Bag, because we want your questions to answer throughout the split. And particularly, we start the Nick Bag tomorrow, so please send any and all questions. Life advice, love advice, work advice, friend advice, game advice, advice. Send it all to asknickboy@gmail.com for your chance to get your question answered by 4 professionals in a field that they're not professional in when it comes to actually answering the questions. All right, it's time to finally get into game number 3 for the evening. It is Order versus Gravitas, and it's coming up with the Macca's Jam Select.
It's not even that it's a massive team fight that's changing it. It's not like it's going to 40 minutes, it's going to 50 minutes, and it's just a nail-biter. It's literally Direwolves just outplaying them in every position at the moment.
You spend your whole split working towards something with like 4 other people that like legit share the same vision, they share like the same dream, everyone wants to win. So when it's taken away from you in like the shittest way possible, like it sucks.
I just think that our mentals got a little bit to us in the actual game, and the reverse sweep for most of the part was mental, I think.
But we were definitely considered to be one of the top teams, and I believed that we could be a team that could win this. So to finish 4th was like yeah, it was like a huge disappointment. But we have one more chance, so let's make the second split the best we can, because like legit the last thing I'd want to do is feel that same feeling again.
Welcome to the Macca's Champion Select. The fillers over. The OPL is not a podcast for us, so we actually do have some gameplay here. It's Order taking on Gravitas. We're into it. We get to see exactly what these two teams are prepared for a brand new split.
I would argue that we're currently in the podcast ad break, Skimmy, but that's a conversation for another day. We are in the third game, of course, here of the night. Split 2 has started anew, and we have so many questions that need to be answered by the players as they hop into the game. Skimmy, one of them is the entire roster of Gravitas. As remember that K-pop is a support player, and this is an emergency sub, not a regular substitution. So something's unfortunately gone wrong over the Gravitas camp, and they needed a super sub to come in and try and do his best for the team, but he's against Only. And I feel like if there was any jungler that I don't want to go against as a substitute, it's probably not Only, because his ability to punish someone is unparalleled.
I mean, how many times has he busted the likes of Akarthus, for instance, and just power farm, got incredibly farmed as a result of it, and just sort of put his team on his back and said, let's go for the victory. Obviously, you come into this matchup here, Order unchanged. The scale of who is the favorite here definitely in their side. Gravitas is going to be a massive weight, especially not only on K-pop to perform in this sort of autofill position, but on beats to then say, I've cycled through practically 3 out of 5 roles in this game. I'm now to support, almost trying to follow the path of Dragku here in cycling around those different matchups.
Yeah, and I think with Senna existing, it's possible that you can switch those roles more accessibly, but Senna's already been banned, right? And if you look at all the champions that Order have taken away, there's a lot of focus towards that bottom role. So maybe they've very much attuned themselves to what Beats is capable of doing. Maybe they just want to get rid of things that they don't want to deal with themselves. But Order, with very little hesitation, have picked a bottom lane after they've banned it away from their opponents. Kalista Thresh, one of the classics that we'll see down there as well, against what seems to be the Kai'Sa brawl.
That it is indeed. Heavy emphasis on removing those enchanting supports, so they're going to have to fight fire with fire. The Brom's going to have his work cut out for him in what is going to be a very aggressive matchup. We've already seen what happens when Pentanet can display this composition. If they can get an early lead, then they are absolutely devastating. If Ayla can pop off much like Rogue did today, they're going to set themselves up for so much success. Now I get to see exactly how things pan on out from here, with Order opening up their account with a Trundle ban. So now you can see there's a very clear focus on targeting both Beats and K-pop in this matchup here.
Yeah, definitely. And looking towards the champions that we may see for the remnants of this draft here, Order's side, I would love personally to see a champion that could go to a side lane, maybe even like a Twisted Fate, someone that could be that happy hybrid that could gank the sides. That possibility is nice. We saw, I think it was a Nocturne, right, from Get Back.
Yeah.
That is viable. Hayri's the type of player that would be able to pick it up. He's very quick to jump onto new champions, things like that all the time. So that's something that I'd like to see from Order's side of the coin here. From Gravitas, usually when you go for the Kai'Sa in a composition as an AD, it's good scaling for one, but usually it's the 5v5 team fighting style, right? A lot of free plasma procs there for a Kai'Sa means a lot of free damage, and the ability to tear through team fights is very high if you start to get going. I would say outscales the Kalista for sure, but we're waiting to see if it is, of course, going to be the AD Kai'Sa or mid like we saw earlier in the day. Still assume AD, though.
Well, this is the interesting one, because at the end of Split 1, Quaku started to bust out the likes of a Poppy, which he's got here, and he showcased the Fiora as well, which really opened up his champion pool and delivered that, I am no longer that area of the map that you can look to try and target. I am now an area that you have to be very conscious of, because I can look to try and take over this game. That's no doubt where Quaku's going to go with this one here. The Echo for me would potentially be that more solo queue-esque style of jungler that K-pop would be able to play on. I'd love to see Seaman retain that identity as an assassin player. Akali is the first thing that springs to mind for me there, and having that double sort of pronged attack.
Actually, you know what? K-pop's an emergency sub. I don't reckon he's going to jungle. I throw that out there. K-Pop's a dedicated support player. Braum's one of his picks. I have a feeling that what we're actually going to see is Beats play a jungle champion. And I think that's maybe the one role that is yet to be fully determined here. So we have to await that, of course. But that's just the inkling, of course, when I look at someone like K-Pop.
Oh, there it is.
We'll see. As
The Assassins. I did not want to see the Lissandra, which was what he busted out early on. That would be a bit of an awkward interaction with double AP between mid and jungle. So if you can't have your Akali, I guess you get some AD.
Yeah, AD would be nice to have here. Zed into the Azir is one of those really risky matchups, though. If they're going to commit to this in the 1v1 in mid, Hayri may even consider swapping to a barrier or an exhaust here. And this matchup, if you ult the Azir and you're near the turret, his turret, you just get immediately Emperor's Divided straight into it, right? You get pushed back in. Your ability to deal damage is nearly impossible as well. And there's a lot of difficulty that comes from that pure 1v1 if the Azir gets any kind of advantage. So we'll wait to see how that matchup goes with Beta Breath. Of course, Human, if he gets any kind of lead himself on the other side of that. Powerhouse can go to the bottom lane and make Rare's life a misery. And if Hayron and Rare are behind, the damage starts to falter a little bit here from the side of Order.
Looks like you hit the nail on the head there, Rusty. It is going to be Beats that's playing the jungle in this game. I'd imagine an absolute teammate delight, a coach's dream. The fact that he can say, put me anywhere, coach. You know, I'll play. I'll make sure that we are not at too much of a disadvantage in this matchup here. So K-Pop will be the one to play the Brom. We have their work cut out for them, given the state of things. And definitely Order have got a lot of comfort picks across the board here. Hayri with the Azir. So many stellar performances on that one, only with the Olaf as well. They have so much strength across the board, all comforts really for Order. So Gravitas, with a multitude of comforts in their own right, are definitely going to have to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, I will say this, first of all. If I wanted a jungler to be playing Echo, I would still be choosing Praelus over someone like Beats, right? Praelus was the Echo player. He was the 1v9 in games last split. So
yeah,
to not have him here is still going to be sorely missed. But of course, Beats entirely capable mechanically on the champion. The big thing that we have to explore in this game between Gravitas and Order is the role, not the champions that they have picked. It's how are they going to play as a team? One, they've changed roster members. They've changed roster positions as well, secondly. And now they're going up against a team that has changed absolutely nothing. And so that's one of the harder games to play through your first game of the OPL with. As we don't have a heal in the bottom lane as well, Skimmy.
Yeah, no, Order all about aggression is what I'm seeing here as we enter into game number 3 with Order taking on Gravitas. No heal, straight aggression. It's essentially them saying to both Puma and K-Pop, you're in a bit of a rough situation and we want to make it even worse.
You know what that is to me? And, you know, everyone has their reasons for it. I think that that's a level 1 just danger to deal with. Puma on the other side has gone for the exhaust himself. K-Pop's going to be the one going for the heal. That's totally fair. You may not be in the same position throughout these fights. At the end of the day, he's also gone Hail of Blades here. So trying to perhaps match that level 1 control, level 1 damage against someone like the Kalista who will run you down may make things a little bit more even, but I'm always going to be afraid of the Thresh and the Kalista if they get going in a 2v2.
Look, this feels like a meta of old when you definitely took this in your solo queue games with a double aggressive ignite. They're sitting in lane, waiting for the face check, and it just collapses upon you. No time for that level 2 power spike. It's all about making it happen right here, right now. It'll be interesting to see how exactly things get deployed, because it's almost like Gravitas expect this.
Oh, both teams fully starting in lane here as well. No leash on this side of the map. We'll see if they actually take the fight here, as the Flay could start it.
Oh, K-Pop face checks in that one. That's a double Flay. A lot of mobility to allow Rare to execute upon, but nothing's going to really come across as a result of it. Be quite content just burning through those consumables.
No overcommitment. The Guardian actually hadn't got procced during that fight. That might have been even more advantageous for Gravitas if that were to be started with a Guardian proc. Nevertheless, just a cheeky trade down there. And the fact that both teams started in lane, once again, another negating factor to make that earlier threat just a little bit lower here. If there was a leash, whoever leashed lost that lane at level 1 for sure.
Well, we've seen Swiper time and time again get to play this on, and he has always been impressive. There have been games where he has become the sole carry, getting, I believe, 6 kills and running rampant on the map, acting as literally every role that you could imagine in this game. And able to put his team on his back, showcase the experience he has as one of the veterans in this region for the OPL. No doubt looking to give Quaku an introduction on one of his most popular champions too.
Yeah, definitely. Quaku well equipped, though, to deal with the whole composition of order, including the Ornn. Level 6,
Yeah.
you can use that W and even prevent one of the dashes like you saw from him just then forwards. Right now, though, Swiper is still manhandling this lane, has a level advantage for the moment as well, which is why up at Poppy, we get the team fights. You know, we get the teleport flanks, we get the ability to group up, have those 5v5s. Poppy's utility is huge, if not the threat of using it is just as large.
Yeah, Quaku's utility here when it comes to those team fights is insane. His ability to deny so many of those dashes will be no doubt instrumental in allowing the rest of his team to find that moment to execute upon. Siemens Zed already being shown no love lost here in this mid lane matchup against Harry. He's going to be no doubt looking to get to level 6 as quickly as possible to unlock that death mark to try and turn the tide of this match.
Yeah, there's two big turning points in this mid lane matchup. One of them is level 6, the other one is completing your first lethality item. You know, the difference between items right now is we'll hold that as Harry needs to get out.
Does indeed. He dashes across and has the protection of Olaf in his wings. Seaman going for the all-in collapse. He won't find it, but both junglers pick up a killer piece. First blood going the way of Beats. So that's a great little start for them as order continue that aggression in the bottom side of the map. Keeping them locked underneath their own tower.
Yeah, Beats will be very happy with that, Skimmy. Beats will be very happy, but unfortunately for mid lane, you have to look at what was used in the way of summoner spells as well. Hayri did get the exhaust off, but a little bit of an outplay there from Suman mechanically to ensure it was a trade. Knew that he was dead if he didn't take the second aspect of that W. Now, he has no ignite, so if you're thinking kill threat at level 6, though, that's a lot of damage potentially to the wayside, potentially missing, and may not be the kill. As already, and what you would expect in that lane that I was going to speak about before the fight started is Azir starts strong, and then Zed has windows of opportunity. Those windows now shrinking just a little bit further.
Straight at Dirk online, so working his way to getting that first item online to give him that power spike, but without the ignite as you highlight, it might really hamper his ability to go for the one-shot outplay, and he'll be looking for those moments given the fact that Harry has found so much priority early on at the 5-minute mark. That's going to no doubt draw the attention of Beats to a lot of protection here. Once again, looking for that moment. But the mobility of an Azir, even pre-6, is going to be enough to prevent that collapse.
Hey, so you can see what they were waiting for, though. If Hayri ever uses the Q, pushes the soldiers forwards, it's the perfect time to look for the engage, the perfect time to go forwards. Just because the distance that he'll be able to cover with the disengage is halved. And then you can actually get on top of him more successfully. You know, Echo being able to then use the dash forwards, cover the distance. Zed, of course, at 6 will be able to get that ultimate off as well. But at the end of the day, just more pressure from Beats, perhaps just crossing through from top to bottom side of the jungle, and him being, you know, having an affinity towards the middle lane itself. No one should really be surprised that that's the place he's ganking. Ayla?
Ayla's going to spot him out. Only is there, going for the aggressive invade on that jungle camp. 3 members rock up. The Lantern comes in clutch, and Beats gets welcome to the jungle role.
They might be looking again here for K-Pop. He does get off the ward at the last moment. Very smart, good awareness to make sure that he does disengage. He was standing there just to give some vision for his AD carry in Puma. And Puma's just copped a boatload of damage while we're looking elsewhere, as did Rare.
Big lead starting to be built up here now, Rusty, between jungle mid and ADC. Order going to utilize that early game strength by starting off the mini game of Dragon Acquisitions.
Yeah, it should come as a surprise to no one that we see an advantage for only against Beats. You know, just proficiency in the role itself is going to be a big difference. A nice hook.
Hook lands, instantly the exhaust comes out. I think Ayla just fishing there for summoners more than anything. Had the opportunity to collapse if he wanted to, as Quaku pops out of denial, and, well, underneath the turret. Tanks maybe a little bit too many shots there. The Titan himself says, thank you very much.
He's griefing. Quaku's griefing. He could have walked away. He legitimately could have just played Swiper by leaving stage right, but he chose to use the W to cancel the ultimate and just takes the turret and inted for it. That's just classic League of Legends, Skibby.
Well, I don't really know what to say.
It takes a lot to break me. I've been casting for a long time, and that was special.
It was looking so good, given the
plays.
state of their team, taking small disadvantages. You were saying, okay, Quaku, you're going even, you're looking good. And, well, that appears to be the caster curse, already off to a flying start here in split number 2. The attempts of a double gank between Beats and Seaman proved not to be the case. Swiper has the ability to dash out of harm's way, and they are taking such a beating underneath their own turret.
Ooh,
They're going for the 4-man collapse. Yep, Ray's going to chuck out Ayla.
I think they're pretty much doomed here unless that teleport. Nice hook again.
The hook again.
Unbelievable.
No need to tower dive. Ayla, Rogue, they're all smurfing on Fresh.
I don't know if Ayla is missed today, and you're right, you mentioned Rogue in that pool as well. I was going to say, we're getting some absolute beast threshers come through. Even from the mid-season streamathon, you know, we saw some big hooks coming out of the likes of Rogue in the games prior to it. Now Ayla hardly misses. Unbelievable stuff.
And you mentioned during the draft, if you were Beats or if you were the jungler of Gravitas coming into this role right now, who do you not want to verse? It's probably not only. And speak of it, he is already off to a flying start. 3-0 with already a significant camp clear advantage. He is where you need him, and he's at that situation where, well, once Ragnarok comes online as well, there's going to be no stopping this man.
And the thing is, right, it like back to the Ayla point, it takes a big brain to be able to make the champion work. There's a lot of mind games when you start throwing these hooks out. You know, it's the will they juke this time? That continues every single time you throw a hook, but he's also been leaving lane brilliantly, right? He's been getting ganks off in the enemy jungle. They had a 3-man takedown of Beats in there. Like, he's everywhere, and he's hitting the hooks when it matters on these people. Under turret, by the way, as they're actively trying to dodge.
Look at the map though, Rusty, at this stage of the game. There is so much vision control here from Order, and deep as well. You're looking at 2 control wards on opposite sides of the enemy jungle that are just zoning them out of any ability to make a play, look to try and claw themselves back into this one. And these CS leads that you're looking at right now will no doubt continue to grow and grow and grow, and the ability to look to contest the likes of another Dragon or even this Rift Herald here. It's going to take a miracle like a Bush Party here to try and claw themselves back in.
In saying that, there is a pretty significant item difference if we look at mid laners right now. There is the completed Duskblade of Drakthar there Force Human to just the Seeker's Arm Guard of Hayri. If there was a moment in this game, and it may not be going towards the Azir in a 1v1 itself, but to go towards where Rare is on the map and take him down, it would be now. And so you can see the way that Only's playing on this map as well. They're protecting their 2v2, they're protecting their bottom lane. They're ensuring that there is no ability to leave, and Hayri is hard pushing in his 1v1 to keep that Zed just bunkered down in mid and give them no good option.
Beats did have double buff there, and he was camping top try, waiting for a moment to try and have a play occur that could turn the tide of this match right now, but it's not going to be enough. The opportunity has passed, or has it? That's a big amount of damage that comes out the way on towards Ayla, but he is taking out the fight for free as Rare uses that ultimate very effectively. Deathmark on towards the Order. Olaf, who does actually get a shutdown. That's exactly what Seaman needs. Is assassin play is what he's known for. And he gets himself online with that power spike that you highlight before, and now we turn our attention to the bottom side where Quaku's job hasn't been made any easier here. Swiper continues to abuse him with those brittle procs.
Ooh. Not quite going to find the stun. Hey, we should just be able to walk this one out. We'll take a little bit of damage for that. And the item spikes was nice for Human. You know, may have been the difference in damage. They are looking once again at mid lane to push Hayri away. But it was a bit of an overreach there from Order. You know, they tried to force the tempo. They had 15 seconds to work with a mid priority before anything else. Oh, that goes wide as well. Close. Had reinforcements there as well, but not going to find it.
He tried to make it happen. The Emperor's Divide will not be used today, but it will be found with success elsewhere on the map, as they once again land a death sentence, connect, and get a kill.
Man, if nothing else, Ayla's just going to hit hooks until they win. That's the state of this game at the moment. They are still controlling the jungle well. They are still getting priority from their mid control into the side lanes, but they hardly need it with the amount of hooks that are just hitting from Ayla.
The dream start for a Kalista now, 30 CS up. Rez well on his way to getting their first item online. As we're now going to see them go for the second dragon of the game. It will be an Inferno Dragon. They found Valley on the top side before this turret plate's fallen down for a turret to actually get taken out of its own damn right, but now they're going to look to try and force that team fight as a result. Numbers advantages will favour Gravitas so far, as they've kept their bot duo here. Order still giving them a run for their money, however, buying as much time as they can.
Could be a trade. Remember that the top first turret was taken down. Solo gold being given over to Rare 7. So, end of the day, this is just going to be the trade. They also used Flash on Swiper. It wasn't necessary with the Lantern being thrown, you would have to imagine. But either way, better safe than sorry. Might have been some wards thrown onto that lantern to prevent him either way. So just disengage. They know that they're not going to take that fight order, so they choose to do whatever is required of them to not take it. And the single Infernal Dragon does mean that the Drakes are going to be one apiece, and it is a Cloud Rift here, Skimmy, with that being the available soul. I don't think you'd be too worried about that one. More gold into the pockets of Rare for a slight buff.
And I think this is something that Order do better than many other teams, right? Is always giving Rare, or the AD carry role, as much gold as possible. They know that something's a little bit confusing. Where are they on this map right now? They have a sneaking suspicion that somebody's hanging in Try. They place under control and go, well, maybe they aren't. But now they show themselves up. Deathmark is available. The Ignite still isn't, however. Ayla is the focal point, but now they turn their attention on towards Ray. He lands the hook again. Denies the disengage ability out. No shadowy clone to make your life a living reality. That's going to be the double kill as Swiper rocks up with a teleport and slams him into the wall, and destruction is matched all across the rave. Everywhere you turn, Gravitas are falling on down.
And who am I to doubt
Crazy.
them? Who am I to doubt them? Skimmy, you're looking at them, you're pushing forwards, there's 3 sitting in the tri-bush, they weren't able to ward it, and they knew something was up. And the confidence of Order to take that fight is, here we go again. Goodbye, Beats. Just caught snoozing on a ward. They're going to break another turret in bottom lane as well. Ayla's a man on a mission, but they outplay Gravitas when they had the numbers at the start.
They're investing so much in trying to claw themselves back by picking up kills, sacrificing CS, sacrificing vision control. But right now, Ayla has got a strong case to be the MVP of this match. Always on top of things, always finding protection. And as you say, maybe just landing hooks until this game is a GG.
And if you are just joining us, there is some differences here on Gravitas' roster compared to perhaps the norm. So we do need to make that context known once again, that it is Beats playing the jungle role, and he's subbing in for Prayless, who has been emergency subbed out for reasons that we aren't entirely certain of. And K-Pop is now going to be playing in the support role. So this isn't full-strength Gravitas. I have to highlight that, but that's not to take anything away from Order, as they are still playing exceptionally well at an individual level, with only the one real faltering that happened top lane.
15 minutes into this one, Rusty. It's already a 5.5k gold lead, a massive chunk of gold that is fueling their ability to close out this game. They've already got the Blade of the Rune King online here for Rare, working their way to getting that second item completed for Hayries. He's gone for the rush on the Stinger as opposed to completing the Zonias. No need to rush that at this stage, he feels.
Yeah, Seeker's Arm Guard's actually just insanely efficient as a standalone item, right? Just gives a lot of base armor and also scales up nicely. Remember, he's against a lethality user, so having any armor is incredibly valuable. And finishing the Nash's Tooth as a complete item is just such a comprehensive single item choice for an Azir to have. The attack speed, the ability power, the cooldown reduction, all stacked into one single item is massively useful. So I like the idea you go for the Seeker's Arm Guard. He also has the exhaust, so even if Zed snowballed out of control, very difficult to deal with Hayri in a one-on-one sense. So he's playing his role perfectly, getting towards those big item spikes, and whenever he gets them, it's just going to be icing on the cake potentially here for the side of Order, as the rest of them are dominating.
Dominating is the fashion of this vision control right now. Take a quick stock check of that vision. You're looking at the mini-map. You're essentially seeing 2 wards that one bit bottom river where the Poppy is not going to achieve too much in terms of valuable information, but the rest, 4 control wards down by Order. They know exactly where you are. They're very confident in their ability to not only invade, steal away, look for ganks, but more importantly, pick up these objectives to continue the pressure. 3 turrets to nil at this stage as they go back to mid lane to defend the Gravitas attempt.
Yeah, and it's not to say that Gravitas are not placing wards here at all, Skimmy. It's just that Order have so much control over Summoner's Rift that it's very hard for them to either A, place wards in a good position, or B, contest wards that they have already placed, as here we go. May take the 1v1 with a nice wall. However, Hayri has no mana here, Skimmy.
No mana, forced to burn the flash, will have the exhaust of the combo if Seaman decides to turret dive under this one. He may do indeed. He's got the death mark, he's already taken 2 turret shots, he's going to take another one as well. He's just probably going to fall on down to passive damage that comes that way. He felt he was strong because there was no mana. Okay, regardless, the all-in attempt with the Ignite and Ultimate will not be enough, and Harry laughs himself straight back to the bank. Meanwhile, mid lane, they abuse by dealing the damage with a summoned Herald. And Swiper is cleaning house in the bottom lane as well. Everything going the way of Order so far.
I'm starting to run out of words, Skibby. This is becoming unbelievable I have no idea what he was trying to achieve there. There was still summoners available for Hayri. Human had a crack at it. And all we could say is that I think Vayne spotting's starting to extend to other champions right now in the OPL. We're transcending what I thought was possible in a pro game. I'm trying not to laugh.
Well, you've broken Rusty for the second time this game as once again they turn their attention onto this man in particular. Just picked up his blue buff, going to receive the redemption. No summoners, but will be protected underneath that top lane turret. You can sense a degree of frustration in the Gravitas camp as they are sniffing out any attempt at a gank, but not proving successful in their attempts.
In order are starting to hit that point where their composition becomes super online as well. You know, they're scaled up. Their Kalista, who is a mid-game type character, has got the 2 completed items as well as a stopwatch available. So not a lot going to be able to take him down. Remember that, of course, Kalista's ultimate bringing the Thresh back means that they can play super aggressively with that Thresh to look for hooks, look for engages, and Ayla's been on the mark since minute 1 of this game. They also have the 2-0 Ornn in top lane. Now, he hasn't gone for magic resistance in the build, hasn't gone for the Infernal Mask upgrade, has actually gone for the Iceborne Gauntlet, which becomes the Frozen Fist. So super stacking of that armor to make sure that he is as tanky as possible. And there is only one threat in this game, really, for the pure magic damage, and that's going to be the Echo that has fallen behind the Olaf. So I don't think a lot's going to be able to deal with Swiper here in this one. It's going to be a powerhouse.
Yeah, going to be fully reliant on that Protobelt and Runic Echoes to come online for the one-shot burst as we turn our attention with the camera panning that way now to see what it actually means. Hayri going to be the target. He's going to go in for the collapse and will find it despite everything being thrown his way. Double buffs online, fully topped up in his HP. Very happy to find at least some kind of comeback condition as Order showcase that they have hit major power spikes. Stopwatch and 2 items on this Kalista as Oli now goes hunting in the jungle and finds one. Deletes the support of Gravitas. Now flanks around to back up his team as Seaman looks for a death market kill target. Stopwatch comes in clutch, denies it for the meantime, but the shutdown comes across anyway. Now Gravitas is saying, we are inspired. We found one, we found a second. What can we get with this? There's no Herald, no Dragon, and Baron can be a very risky call to make at this stage of the game.
They actually take down both of the carries here from the side of Order. So once again, we hit this mid-game. We find the mid-game jitters, and another pick goes over to Gravitas. Beats finally proves, Skibby. He finally proves that Hayri can be taken down. Now, it required no summoners and a repeat offense of some people hinting in attempts to take him down, but the Azir has fallen. And so they'll get some extra gold into their pockets, and very much needed as well. We just spoke about the build of Swiper. Well, there is a bit of extra magic damage that can come online now from some extra gold in the pockets of Echo. And Beats is no slouch mechanically when it comes to the champion. And he's managed to, I will say, get through the jungling. Not unscathed. He was taken down, and he was pressured multiple times, but he's gotten through it.
All things considered, you had to take your hat off to how he's managed to hold his own in this matchup. He's still hunting for kill shot opportunities. What does this mean in terms of their ability to try and claw themselves back into this game? They've managed to close out the gold difference, albeit by a small amount. It's now shrunk to 5.5. But 90
Still
seconds
huge.
on that next dragon. Yeah, there's still a massive mountain for them to climb.
The weakest member of the team of Order is still the Azir that has 1.5, 1 2/3 now items. You know, he's inevitable at this point. He's still going to find his way to get online. Side lane priority being given to him as well for all of the farm that he will be collecting as Swiper starts to group. Swiper, now level 13 on that Ornn, has hit peak efficiency for himself. Not quite just yet for upgrading the rest of his team when it comes to those items, but nevertheless, he's going to be almost indomitable for his team to be dealing with. For the enemy team, sorry, to be dealing with.
You can see Gravitas trying to eke out any sort of advantage they can achieve, really, with this 1-3-1 split to get as much farm online as possible. Hayri going to be the response target to the 1v1. The Empress Divide not going to do much when the Zed has this much mobility and an exhaust coming in at that stage. Too little too late. Hayri, both summoners gone. Despite all the shenanigans that happen in the mid lane, still able to avenge himself in what was a questionable play only moments before.
Perfect timing, to be fair, there as well from Suman, because Hayri, once he falls down, fires the Zhonya's Hourglass. That's how close he was to being able to potentially survive that, but more gold into the pocket of this Zed. More threat now also present as he works towards the edge of night. Only coming, but note that Quaker's not alone.
Not alone by any stretch of the imagination right now. Going to flash out of the second dial 2 of the Ornn ultimate. Only so damn strong at this stage of the game. 5-1 can literally run anybody down. Doesn't have the Ragnarok, had to burn it in that situation. Now maybe Gravitas looking for a chance to fight. The box goes down. That's going to slow the engage attempt for Gravitas to try and capitalize on their own looking situation. Redemption tops up Swipe, but this time the hook will not land. Both teams flirting with the idea of death as that next dragon has spawned. Both trying to eke out any form of advantage to try and contest.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Gravitas do have to disengage, however, so that is Order getting the objective victory. Well, they're not able to find any kills afterwards. They still take that. Now, Soul point for them. 4 minutes and 50 seconds until we have the Cloud Soul. Of course, not the best Soul in the game. Not the one that they would be desperately fighting for. They may even consider conceding that Drake to look at the Baron if that has not been taken in this window of time. So the game might even slow down to a halt as we play the vision control game. It may not, though. If Ayla's able to start hitting those hooks again, things may just rapidly accelerate.
Look at the insane difference between both Rare and Puma right now. Puma's sitting on an item and a half. Now he's completed. He's finally got that Ginsu, so he's starting to catch up. But in comparison, you're looking at Rare with 3 completed items. Has now the GA. He's picked up a null magic mantle, so he does not fall victim to a one-shot from Beats' Echo. And as you highlight, you know, given the fact they have a Smite and a Callista, they could just look for an all-in collapse on this Baron. Gravitas have a sneaking suspicion that they might be hanging around this side of the map, hence why there are 2 sitting in topside brush.
Human is the assassin player, and he has definitely taken the reins in this game and said, we need a hero's performance, we don't have Praylist, so I'm going to step up to the plate, and has gone for the Zed himself. So far, so good. Unfortunately, that sweeper from Hayri is not going to find the ward just to the right of his current position yet. Now going to start the Baron off, so information's there for Gravitas. This is right in their face, and Only's already half health.
Only down to half. They want to draw on that team fight. They want to force that fight. See him in a triple lethality items, and in that major power spike, the box goes down. The team disengage. Redemption to top them up as they look for the hook to try and get themselves back into the situation once again. Ornn comes out. They find the kill target. They go straight onto K-pop, but he goes golden. Denies so much of it right now. Ayla gets taken out and thrown back in again. Only is the connection, and he does get taken down even despite flashing over into the protection of his mid-tier 1. Quaku now doing whatever he can to deny as much of these dashes on in, and the pure damage output that Rare can display is coming in clutch right now. As they find one, they find a second. Puma jumps in, but the Emperor's Divide sends them straight back to where he came from. Order, they didn't want the Baron, they wanted the fight, and they won it.
That's a big victory for the bottom lane of Order here as well. They put in some serious work as a duo. Hayri does get to the fight late because Quaku uses that baseball knock. It pushes him way back towards his own base. But at the end of the day, he's there to deal the damage as it's required. Order, they will get the team fight win. Now, we're not going to be going straight to objectives after that. It wasn't a clean ace. They didn't have the full capabilities after the fight had ended. We'll see this one more time. Beats very early, very aggressively looking to just pressure, perhaps deal damage, and then push them away. But it seems like the commitment was still there from Gravitas. A little bit undecided until a hook connects, and they have no choice. Stopwatch used at the same time as the door there from K-pop as well, make things a little bit difficult for him, but Only's gone. And you think maybe they disengage here. They've got the jungler of Order, they've got some freedom. Maybe we have to sacrifice Quaker for it as well. But they flash in. They very aggressively go forwards, and they get barely anything from it here as well. They're lucky to actually get Swiper and get a trade back with how forward they went.
All the while, Rare was free hitting in that fight and very happy displaying the difference in these item builds right now. And where has that led us after this replay is all said and done? Right back to where we started. Double the kills and a 6k gold lead. Mid lane priority will be asserted, will be controlled. Swiper will be prepping bot wave as well and has a teleport to join in again, as it looks like Order want to have a bit of a deja vu moment and start things off once again. Both junglers flexing their might. Yeah, Beats in a whole bunch of trouble right now. The teleport will come across. He does have the chrono break, and he may be trying to flirt with the idea of disengaging, catching members out. Jukes at a hook. Now buying time. This is giving so much time for Gravitas to reassert themselves in a situation where they can maybe try and turn things around. Seaman hunting. Doesn't have the ignite, but he does have the death mark. Looking for that
Harry's
one
dead.
kill target. Gravitas actually find one. Beats buying so much time, but it's a little bit awkward for the rest of his team to try and follow in quick pursuit. So 1 for 1, all things said and done here, Rusty.
This game's quickly getting more and more outrageous to behold. Somehow Beats, caught in this very awkward position, nowhere to go, is just desperate to survive for as long as he can, ends up with the 1-for-1 trade. I think there was some cheeky damage from the side there by Human. Hard to say for certain, my eyes were peeled more on Beats than anyone else. But somehow, they get a 1-for-1 when they had no right getting it. And we still put ourselves in this position where the game, not dead even by any means, but still a fighting chance for the Gravitas roster. We've got the Soul up in 4 seconds as well. And what was originally a thought of maybe Order choose the Baron as a priority over it, they forced Gravitas to this side of the map. They've just now started it. Hayri's not even here.
With Beats being dead and only respawning now, it looks like an idea that they may want to consider, but perhaps based on how close that teamfight was prior, a degree of restraint has now been shown. Vision becomes very important as to how they can look to try and set themselves up, because the pressure that is coming from Gravitas, their aggressive nature of all these assassins diving onto a kill target, is proving to cause them a fair degree of problems. The Dragon will not be stolen away, and that gives them a soul point. The hook does land again, and Beats' attempt to make it a 50-50 steal will not be a possibility. Now for sure, the Baron is the shot call.
Yeah, makes the commitment perhaps to look towards the Dragon. Maybe go for the steal, maybe do something creative. And speaking of creative, you've got Human way off in the distance behind them. Nowhere near these two who are in a lot of trouble.
Quaku doing what he can right now to act as a peel, but he's going to be the lamb to slaughter, it appears. He tanks up everything to protect the rest of his team. Will that change the ultimate outcome here? I feel like Order still want to go for one objective, and that is the Baron. Zed is on the hunt. He is behind enemy lines. I don't believe Order has spotted him right now. He has everything available to him.
Here he goes. He's on the hunt. See if he can get something done. Going to try and kill Ayla. It does successfully do so, Skimmy.
Auto and Ignite secures that. Baron does get picked up.
That's a trade that you would take every day of the week if you were Order. Remember, that's not a 1 for Baron trade. They've been able to take down 2 people from the Gravitas side as well prior to even taking that fight. Massive win here from the side of Order. First death of the game there for Ayla, but nevertheless does it for his team. As now they're going to be able to push forwards with this Baron once he has respawned. And that might just be the catalyst to push this game towards its end. As we have 4.5 minutes till the next objective exists, it'll be towers, towers, towers for Order.
Incredibly hard to try and kill Rare on his Callista, however. He's got the Death Stance completed with the GA as well, and an upgraded Blade of the Rune King. He has lifesteal like you would not believe it. The amount of mitigation, not only to himself, but the ability to displace Ayla and protect him with his ultimate, reduced cooldown. Could prove to be the difference maker here, as now they set themselves up for a siege through mid. Hayri only moments away from getting that Rabadon's online. The turret behind to prevent any kind of flanking attempt, as Quaku's trying to set himself up for that, but it's not a possibility. They run straight through with the Baron buff and destroy mid lane inhibitor.
Human's level 16 with 3 lethality items, but there's just so much armor standing in front of him and of the carries at the moment. Even some armor on the carries as well. You know, you've got your Guardian Angel, your Zonia's Hourglass there. And if he's the one carry of the team, they need someone like Puma to step up and do what he can. But my god, Ornn's just a tanky boy. Very difficult to get through all of that health bar as well. So Order may just continue to run rampant in this game and get too much of a lead that's just beyond insurmountable here. 1 inhibitor already gone. Waiting to see if they can get a second.
4,000 health and 350 armor. He is the Armor Titan for a reason, and he's putting it on full display here today. He's going to keep those mid lane minions pushing on in, causing havoc, causing confusion, forcing Gravitas to make a big shot call here, as the Baron buff now looks to exert the same amount of pressure bot side. The hook lands, the box is down, and Quaku is deep. He gets the baseball swing, but that's not before Heavy takes him out of this situation. Now it can look to commit for more. That's a double kill. The turret falls on down, working their way towards that inhibitor, but Rare is exerting so much pressure. Both AD carries get exhausted, but he comes out clutch. Zed jumps in and immediately has regrets as he commits with that death mark. The second inhibitor will fall on down. Swiper cannot be deleted. He is far too formidable at 32 minutes into this game, and that might be all she wrote as Order take on a rather dismantled Gravitas in their first opening count for Split 2. but nothing to their discredit. They come in strong, and they get the all-important victory.
Yeah, Order definitely look like the best team in the game, Skimmy, when it comes down to it. Very little mistakes to be seen from them, and you have to say for the other side, shake the jitters off. If you're a Mammoth, get them out of the way. Gravitas, get them out of the way. Do what you can, learn what you can from that. But there was a couple of big mechanical moments that were just massive mistakes. And you can't go through that game without ignoring them because they were pretty significant deals. And then there was still some good moments for them to take away as well. You know, Suman, good player, had some good moments himself, but not going to be nearly enough to take down the whole team of Order.
Well, a new split and a new chance for Order to prove themselves as a contender to close out and win Split 2. That's going to do it for game number 3. We're going to jump to a quick break. And when we return, it's game number 4.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
Welcome to the 2020 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson.
And that's a beautiful hemo play, gone to multiple members. He gets himself a double kill.
It's Raze doing what he does, the team fight king.
We love everybody. We love the OPL.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.